Chapter 674, Immortal. Dang Shintong sensed that there was something wrong with the flames that spontaneously ignited Phoenix Hallren. Without the slightest hesitation, he did his best to break free from Phoenix Hall's restraints and backed away as far as he could. In the midst of the burning crimson flames, the corner of Phoenix Hall's mouth was still smiling. Even though his body was already teetering, there was not the slightest expression of fear on his face. Gob. What the hell was that? Dang Shintong cautiously stared at Feng Wangyuan. He knew that the leader of the Eclipse Moon sect was definitely capable of more than that. But so what? Since he started his campaign, he had encountered more than one tough opponent. As the flames burned, Feng Wangyuan's body slowly fell over. However, the flames burned even more fiercely, and Dang Shintong heard a loud cry. The red flames had turned into a fire phoenix with 3 heads. And a moment later, the charred body rose from the ground again. The black dust dispersed, revealing a strong body. Although the body was naked, it was full of power. Phoenix Hallren was reborn from the flames, and where was there even the slightest injury on his body? Perfect, it was almost as if he had been born again. For the first time, Dang Shintong's gaze showed a solemn expression. He remembered very clearly that his punch had pierced through Phoenix Hallren's chest and even nearly shattered his heart. It was impossible for a human to survive an injury of that severity. But why had this guy appeared unscathed? Was it because he hadn't killed him with a single blow? Dang Shintong licked the blood at the corner of his mouth, which was Phoenix Hall's blood. Then, I'll kill you again. The light of the holy body's blessing around Dang Shintong became even more intense, and his speed became extremely fast, as if he were the embodiment of light. Phoenix Hall, who had just been reborn from the flames, was once again approached by Dang Shintong, who punched him again. Phoenix Hall had a smile on the corner of his mouth, and he blocked with his hands in front of him. Although his vision was deprived, he had a special way to predict Dang Shintong's attacks. Just beyond the fog, the Miko Mayumi Takeuchi slowly knelt in the middle of the ruins. She slowly cut her wrists open, and large patches of bright red blood flowed down and merged into the Takeuchi scroll in front of her. The nourishment of the blood made the Takeuchi scroll become more demonic. And in the white pupils of Huan, there was the mark of reincarnation spinning. The battle between the 2 top-level aliens was still a clash of flesh and blood at the end. Phoenix Hall, who could deprive people of their sight, took the absolute initiative in this battle. Relying on his special abilities, Phoenix Hall passively defended himself. Although he had also tried to attack, he was always half a step slower because he couldn't see. The red fire of the phoenix burned on his body, but he was unable to capture Dang Shintong, whose figure was hidden in the light. Puh! This time, Dang Shintong turned his palm into a knife and accurately pierced his heart. This time, I'll see if you die or not. Dang Shinwu stared at Feng Wangyuan and said word for word. But this time, Feng Wangyuan still got up unharmed from the ashes after self-igniting. Dang Shinwu finally confirmed Feng Wangyuan's ability. Even if you are hit in a vital area, you can be reborn through the fire. This ability was indeed a bit troublesome. Because no matter how you kill someone, unless you destroy every single cell in their body, they can come back to life again. Phoenix Hall returned in perfect form. With a teasing smile, he said to Dang Shinwu, "Sorry. My greatest strength is that I can't die. A person who can't be killed can completely use various methods to wear down any opponent." Dang Shinwu didn't care at all. He snorted, "Immortal? Then I'll just kill him a few more times." He didn't believe there was anyone in the world who couldn't be killed. All carbon-based life forms would die. Either he hadn't found Phoenix Hall's weak point, or he hadn't killed him enough times. But it didn't matter, he would just keep killing until Phoenix Hall couldn't be reborn again. Dang Shintong stroked his cheek and his voice became cold. "My teammates are waiting for me to bring them victory, and I don't have all day to waste here with you. So let's speed things up. Daksumi, illusion." In a daze, for the first time, Phoenix Hall's eyes regained their vision. He could actually see the distant figure of Deng Shinchu in the white world. But before he could feel any joy, Dang Shinchu's shadow was stretched infinitely long along with the entire world. And the scene around him began to change in a bizarre and grotesque way. He saw the downtown area of Kyoto, and the next moment, he was back in the fields of Kagoshima. From the past to the present, from the countryside to the city, even the noise of the worldly fireworks appeared in his ears. This was illusion. Although Phoenix Hall realized what was happening, he was unable to stop it. What his eyes saw and what his ears heard were all false. Boom! Phoenix Hall's head exploded like a watermelon. Losing his sight and even his hearing being disrupted, he was unable to deal with Dang Shintong's attack. Outside the fog, Mayumi Takeuchi's blood began to fade on the scroll. However, she did not hesitate and slashed her wrist again. It was too cold for the wound to quickly clot, and she had to do this often to perform witchcraft. Shigemono Field Satoru watched this scene with some pain. Everyone knew that this could lead to the loss of the entire arm. Even a witch with extraordinary abilities was no exception. But Mayumi Takeuchi did not hesitate for a moment. In the illusion, Feng Wangyuan once again stood up. It was as if he had not been affected at all. No matter how many times he died, he was able to perfectly rise from the flames. And after being reborn, his condition had not been diminished in the slightest. Impossible, this was absolutely impossible. Dang Shintong frowned, and he had already made up his mind. Even if rebirth is a power, it also consumes supernatural power. Even if he doesn't seem to be damaged, the consumption of supernatural power must be great. As long as I kill him a few more times, I will definitely make him disappear completely. Dang Shintong was not at all panicked. He did not believe that there was really someone who could not be killed in this world. Compared to the others, Feng Wangyuan was not particularly resistant to death, and he did not have any advantages in other aspects. Come on, let me see how many more times you can die. Dang Shinwu came behind Feng Wangyuan as quickly as light, and his right leg whipped around like a whip, aiming for Feng Wangyuan's back of the head and lashing out hard. But this time, even though Feng Wangyuan had been deprived of his ability to see and hear, he still accurately and unmistakably blocked Dang Shinwu's attack with his arm. Chapter 675, The Great Sumru Illusion. The ability to influence sight with hearing, smell, and taste is called synesthesia. Dang Shintong's ability, the Great Sumru Illusion, was used to influence his enemy in this way, so that the enemy's mind and body were in completely different spaces, and then his physical body was beheaded. As long as you are under this kind of illusion, it is useless to close your eyes. Therefore, normally, no one can block his attack after being under the illusion. However, Hujuren managed to do just that. Although Dang Shintong was clearly superior in terms of power, Hujuren's block still caused a great shock to Dang Shintong. He couldn't understand what this man had done. Resisting to the bitter end, Dang Shintong's fist blasted towards Hujuren. With this punch, it was as if 1,000 fists had attacked at once. As the cutting-edge product of the Deng Group's biotechnology, his physical strength was comparable to that of a top-level enhanced X-Man. This was why Zhu Jing believed that Dang Shintong was the perfect X-Man, and that he might be able to break through the shackles of his own X-Man rank in the future and reach Epsilon level. From an X-Man's perspective, Dang Shintong was a perfect being in and of itself. His offense and defense were integrated, and both his X skills and close combat were impeccable. Although there was no light in Huan's eyes, his body instinctively defended itself against Dang Shintong's attacks. The collision of their fists made a deafening sound. It didn't feel like two aliens sparring, but rather like two rhinos butting heads. Huan's combat effectiveness was truly terrifying. Even though he had almost lost all of his senses, he was still able to engage Dang Shintong in a struggle. However, he was at a disadvantage after all. In the blink of an eye, the two had already exchanged hundreds of blows. Dang Shintong's fist broke through his defenses and once again pierced his chest. Phoenix Hall, on the other hand, quickly stood in front of Dang Shintong in the posture of being reborn in the flames of a bath. Dang Shintong's mouth curled up in a sneer, and the fighting spirit in his eyes soared. He reached down and pulled an ice blue pistol from his waist, and before Phoenix Hall could be reborn completely, he charged past and fired a shot at his head. The pitch-black bullet was very different from an ordinary origin bullet. It had a white feather on it and was Dang Shintong's special bullet. Not only could this bullet break demons, it also contained incredibly terrifying genetic toxins. Once it entered a person's body, it would quickly spread throughout the body along the bloodstream, quickly corrupting a person completely. Even if it was an alien, being shot by this bullet would also quickly dissolve it. After being shot, Dang Shintong's body also quickly turned black and died once again. And then, he continued to be reborn. Dang Shintong was not a man without patience. He had encountered many difficult opponents. But this was the first time he had encountered an alien like Feng Wangyuan, who could not be killed no matter what, and would immediately be reborn in perfect form after being killed. In terms of strength, he could easily beat Feng Wangyuan. However, how is he going to kill Feng Wangyuan? Could it be that he really can't kill him? No, there must be a way. But if I continue to waste time here with him, the result may not be what I want most. Why not try to seal him? Dang Shinfa figured it out. With his strength, it was no problem to kill Feng Wangyuan many times, so naturally there was a way to subdue him. Then bring him back to the laboratory in the big district and hand him over to the scientific research department to slowly dissect him. There was always a way to deal with him. Thinking about this, Dang Shinfa began to change his battle strategy. Taking advantage of the process of Phoenix Hall's resurrection, he took out a silver rope from the backpack he was carrying and quickly tied it. During the process of resurrection, Phoenix Hall did not have the slightest strength to resist. After he was resurrected, his body was already firmly tied up by Dang Shinwu. "Come back to Blizzard City with me, you mixed-up cultivator," Dang Shintong said coldly, tugging Phoenix Hall by the arm. But at this moment, the tightly bound Phoenix Hall suddenly laughed. At first the laughter was not loud, but soon it became more and more rampant. "What are you laughing at?" Dang Shintong asked with a frown. Phoenix Hall looked at Dang Shintong and his smile grew wider, but his gaze remained cold. "Of course I'm laughing, I was able to kill the famous captain of the Divine Squad." This time, he spoke not in Neon language, but in broken Chinese. But this teasing remark made Dang Shintong furious. He slammed a fist hard on Feng Wangyuan's forehead, splattering Feng Wangyuan's head with blood. But Feng Wangyuan didn't care, he was still smiling. Without any warning, his entire body exploded. In front of Dang Shintong, he exploded into the air, scattering large patches of blood rain that fell with a whoosh sound, of course splashing Dang Shintong all over. Dang Shintong was a very clean person, as could be seen from his fondness for dyeing his white hair and wearing silver-white clothes. However, Phoenix Hall's self-destruction had caused him to be covered in sticky blood, which made Dang Shintong furious. However, before Dang Shintong could clean the bloodstains, he suddenly felt as if he was burning from within. Dang Shintong was in excruciating pain. He looked down and saw that it was no illusion, his body was actually beginning to burn. Phoenix Hall's blood had flowed down his clothes and onto his body, and the silver-white combat uniform had become unpresentable from the blood contamination. The blood, which was flowing in a colorful pattern, did not solidify and turn black after leaving the body, but instead burst forth with even more dazzling radiance. And then it burned. A raging fire shot up into the sky, turning Dang Shintong into a fireman. Dang Shintong let out a painful wail from his mouth as he desperately used to resist the flames. However, the temperature of the flames was terrifying, and he was caught off guard, making it too difficult to resist. At this time, from among the broken flesh, Feng Wangyuan once again climbed to his feet. His eyes coldly stared at Dang Shinwu, who was burning in flames, and he grinned. "This time, it's your turn to be reborn in the flames. The power of the phoenix is not something that anyone can withstand." He had withstood such power after thousands of reincarnations. Time and time again, he was burned to ashes by the blood within his body, but he was able to recover again and again due to his strength. I don't know how many times he experienced this kind of pain before he learned how to control this power. The blood of the phoenix is the most terrifying fire poison in the world. Die! Phoenix Courtyard let out a roar, and his naked body charged towards Tang Shenli, who was burning in flames. Dang Shintong struggled to support himself, resisting the burning of the phoenix fire. At this time, he could not even open his eyes. But at this moment of life and death crisis, something suddenly came to his mind. Clearly, with his strength, he could absolutely crush and defeat Feng Guangyuan. Even if he could not kill him, with sufficient preparation, sealing Feng Guangyuan would be as easy as pie. But why did he feel that the other party seemed to know everything about him, and even this battle was a setup?